Is the STAAR test worth it? Hello, my name is Andrew Schneider, and I'm currently taking a class at Collin College in McKinney, Texas. And now I'm going to be talking about something that could surprise people. I will be discussing the importance of the STAAR test that is required in the state of Texas and the factors of the STAAR test. I have done research on the test, and for the longest time, I felt that this test was so unnecessary and that it should be taken away. But now, I have found valid reasons for why this test is so important, and I will be discussing this today. Let's start with the STAAR test background. So, the STAAR test was introduced in Texas during the 2011-2012 school year. It was made for grades 3 through 8, and there was end-of-course assessments for high school students. Each grade had a certain amount of tests they would take. Those tests being for third grade, reading and math, grade 4, reading, math, and writing, grade 5, reading, math, science, grade 6, reading and math, grade 7, reading, math, and writing, and grade 8 had the most, with reading, math, science, and social studies. One time. They have come up with reasons not to have it and hate it. A boy named Nathan Stanley says, "I don't think we need it because there are better, less time-consuming ways to see how students are learning and how teachers are teaching. Most of the tests that I have taken are around 20 to 40 questions long and take me about 30 minutes to complete. Why should a STAAR test take 4 hours to complete? In a STAAR test limit PDF, I found it said that for each grade, it is designed for it to be completed in a time limit that is under 4 hours. Also, a good way to see how kids are doing is checking their grades. And if they have low grades because of the teacher, just monitor the teacher. And if the teacher isn't teaching well, the monitor can request for the teacher to get more training." I would agree with almost everything that Nathan stated, but there are reasons for everything that is done. There are indeed better ways of seeing how someone is doing in that class, but the 4 hours for the test are the reason. The reason for the 4 hours in the test is for a student to go back and check their work multiple times to make sure they know what they got or put the right answer. This is the case because this test is a big deal and not a blow-off. It is for Texas. It's really giving the students an opportunity to do better. Also, yes, the teacher can just check your grades, but the test is for Texas to see how everybody's doing. And if they need to do better with the curriculum or other things like that, then they will, based off how the students are doing on the STAAR test. The results of the STAAR test. But now I've discovered what the STAAR test is and its purpose. The STAAR test is for the state of Texas. We all know this, and it's the school to see how well the teachers are teaching students and if they are going through all the required material for that year. Just this last year, students had a 46% pass rate on the English STAAR test, which is not all that good. This is probably due to the teachers not being more involved or entertaining or while in the class making it boring. I feel this is in some of my classes in real life with me. And it's hard to focus making this class hard. So classes like some science classes, I'm not going to say who, but it's difficult because of the teacher. But it's not because it is hard, but rather it's hard because the questions on the test, the STAAR test, assume that we've learned it. Or we've had to do it before, so they will assume it is easy. Everything on these tests were supposed to be taught throughout the year, so that the state of Texas thinks it is an easy pass. But in reality, that the teachers don't always teach everything, let alone well, and students will get distracted or miss some information. My experiences with the STAAR test. In the 8 years I've taken this test, I've always hated this test. And one day I wanted to know the real reason for it. And that's why I have all this information. That's why I'm making this video, really. After researching, it does all make sense to me. It doesn't mean I like it. I don't, but it is still good to take it. My least favorite of them is the writing STAAR test, because I feel as it's the most time consuming, because you must come up with the ideas on the spot for the test, and hopefully use the information learned during the year. Often for me, it is hard because sometimes I've come across things that I haven't been exposed to, and that's what trips me up when taking these tests. That is why I said I agreed with what some things that Nathan said a couple minutes ago, because it is indeed hard, and the teachers may need some help, or need more help about knowing what information to teach. It may sound like I'm for both sides, but I'm really not. I see the benefit in the outcome of these tests, and they really are important to Texas and the schools. Also, it is good for yourself to see where you are in your path of learning. Oftentimes, I have decided to just change my point of view of it and think that the tests are just extra practice on multiple choice tests. Some people think that multiple choice tests are easy, but I think they're kind of difficult. So it is important to me that I practice and get better at eliminating answer choices and finding the real answer. While trying to find information, I asked my parents what they thought about the test, because they have had some experience with knowing some information about them. And they said they totally agree with everything the tests give. They also list out the benefits and how it helps Texas, basically everything I stated before. Even though the STAAR test isn't the most fun, it is worth the time, after all. Now, I'd like to talk more about the time frame that the state of Texas gives you. The state of Texas gives you a whole 4 hours to complete this test, and most people think this is excessive, but it is indeed for a reason. There are some students that finish a test in 30 minutes, and those are the ones that are complaining a lot about it. Rather, there are people who take maybe 3 hours, 3.5 hours, and actually understand the purpose. I can admit I don't like sitting in a chair for 4 hours, but I do spend most of the time frame going back over the test to see if I missed anything obvious or anything silly that could improve my score. According to a TexasAssessment.com, if needed, students can take up to 4 hours to complete this assessment. The time limits for the assessment were set to provide students the time they need without causing additional stress and worry. I like how they said that it helps relieve stress from everything and gives you more than enough time to finish. If you are listening to this, you're often one of those that finishes super fast, even though you think you got everything right. I think it is worth looking over it again. It doesn't hurt you at all, rather it benefits you. Also, I find that the more time you spend on the test, time flies. Before you know it, you may only have an hour or an hour and a half left in the time frame before it ends. This has really helped me and allowed me to do a lot better on the STAAR test, catching my mistakes and getting better understanding of the questions. So now, after listening to my case, oh yeah, it's my face. I hope this has not exactly changed your mind completely, but at least put something into your head that the STAAR test really isn't that bad if you just go with what the state of Texas would like you to do. That is, take your time, go over the test, and yeah, you can also take breaks in between to better help your mental state, and also it helps pass time. I do it during my test. Remember, even if the teacher you had was not the best and didn't teach something they should have correctly, try your best. May this turn into something like me telling you how, or to do your best on the STAAR test. But anyway, the STAAR test is for a purpose, and I hope you end up seeing it that way and not a waste of time. I'm Andrew Snyder, and I thank you very much.